In this video, we will continue to build your system using Unreal Engine's game animation sample. Today we are going to create the base of our aiming system, so we can switch between the idle pose and aiming pose. Of that, while keeping the original Epic Games code as untouchable as possible, so it's easier to update things when they release new versions. Just a reminder, this project is completely free and copyright free. You can follow along and build it by watching the videos, or if you prefer, become a subscriber using the link in the description and download everything ready to go. Let's get started. The code we'll be writing today goes mostly inside your animation blueprint called ABP Arms and Facial. To do this, make sure you already have the aiming and the idle poses set up. In the last video, I showed how to create them, but you can also grab them from the description or create your own by following the previous lessons. Epic uses a system to better support multiplayer and have full control of which keys are pressed. That's what we use to tell the character when to aim. To make everything easy to update in the future, we are going to create a child class of the existing PC sandbox controller. Now copy the input action, paste it into the new child controller, set it to do nothing and confirm. Next, we need to create a reference to the character that's being controlled. For that, use the event onPossess, then cast to CBP sandbox character and save the reference. Now we use that reference to update the character input state. Call update input state server using the character reference and connect it to set members in character input state. Before going further, on the controller side, let's go back to the animation blueprint to finish setting up the aim pose switch. We'll call the blend pose by bool and connect the aim pose on the true pin and idle pose on the false. To drive this logic, we need the character input state, so let's fetch that in the anim blueprint. Under functions, override, use event blueprint initialize animation. Get the pawn owner, cast to CBP sandbox character, and save that reference. At this point, the switching between poses should already be working, but of course, many little adjustments are still needed. Before going back to the controller, let's make a small tweak in the main animation blueprint, and this one is important. We are going to modify a function called getOffsetRootRotation inside ABP sandbox character. Here, we create a new variable called offsetRotation, which we use to control how the character's root rotates. Don't forget to connect it to both outputs in the function and set its default value to accumulate. Now let's move on. To control the character rotation properly while aiming, I created a simple function. It checks if the character wants to aim, and if yes, it updates rotation settings and forces the character to walk instead of running. So, just to be clear, we are updating the offset rotation mode, the rotation settings, and the movement mode to walking while aiming. To do that, sadly, we also need a reference to the animation blueprint. Back in on process, we get the mesh, call get an instance, cast to ABP sandbox character, and save this as a variable. Here I made a small mistake by forgetting to use get instance, but I fix it right after. Then we group all these values and collapse them into a new function called switch to aim mode. This function takes a boolean input called wants to aim, and it connects directly to all the settings we just mentioned. Now in ABP arms and facial, we cache the aiming arm animations into a variable. Let's call it arms cache. And we use that cache with the look at node. For now, we use spine01 as the target bone. Add the dead blending node and connect everything to the final pose output. Clamp the look at rotation to 40 degrees and expose the target location as a pin so we can set where the character should look. We create a new variable for this location and connect the blending node at the end. I also left a simple comment in the graph. We'll probably improve that later, but now it's time to update the look at location in real time. In the event graph, use the event blueprint to update animation, and you update the location use the character's position plus the pawn control rotation multiplied forward. I used 10,000 here. And now it starts working. There are still a few settings we need to double check. In the layer add blend per bone, make sure mesh space rotation blend is enabled for the aiming layer and disabled for the idle one. In the look at node, uncheck the option in local space. Finally, set our new custom controller as the one used in word settings or directly in the characters class. And now we are finally aiming different directions and ready to move on to the shooting system. And remember, in ABP arms, you can adjust the blend time between aiming and idle pose. And of course, we'll polish it a lot more in the next steps. But this is already a solid beginning. Thank you for watching to the end. See you on next time.